child, that your skin can bring you so much pain. Now I hear you say, you got the best of both ways. Won't you come and take a walk in my shoes and tell me if you take my place? Undercover of my skin, I've heard all your names. If it's all the same, I'll keep on walking.
Welcome to episode number 248 of the Inside Running Podcast. Thank you for joining us for another week. A big weekend in Australian distance running has just happened, and we're actually recording on the Sunday night. Off our usual recording time of a Monday night. We thought we wanted to get it out fresh to the Patreon supporters, so a massive thank you to our Patreon supporters who support the Inside Running Podcast. Hopefully you enjoy this episode that's coming to you 24 hours earlier. Feels a bit different doing it on a Sunday night, but we've got all the usual agenda items planned. Welcome to my co-host up in Canberra, Bradley Croker. Welcome to you. How's your Sunday?
Not too bad. I know it's only been 6 days since we recorded, but it's felt like a bloody month for me. I've been pretty sick this week, so it'd be a pretty short weekly recap.
Not good at all. And I think we've taken you away from your family member. Your brother's in town visiting, and now you're just shipped him off so you can record a podcast episode.
No, sitting down on the couch. Because Viv and the kids, they're up visiting her auntie and uncle in Parks this weekend, and my brother's over visiting, so he's down on the couch just keeping quiet.
What, in the same room?
Oh, we're in the living room area. He's on his device with headphones, watching some games.
Okay, that's all right. Imagine just sitting there listening to this for the next hour. Other co-host is the king down there at the Surf Coast Track Club, 2:14 marathoner, Julian Spence. How are you?
Oh, king title's generous at the moment.
The alpha.
But I'm down here. Oh, look, I'm self-proclaimed alpha, no problem. No one stepped up to the title down here. Happy to run faster, but no one wants to crack at the title.
Just told us off air that if a dog goes berserk in the background, you know what that noise is. So it sounds like the puppy has arrived. Mate,
I've had a few puppies. I've had 3 dogs, and this one has cried more than all of them put together.
Really?
This dog does not handle being by itself very well.
Trouble in paradise by the sounds of it.
I thought it was a tough dog. German Shepherd's tough?
No, yeah, well, not this one at the moment. Not at 9 weeks old. It's got a real whiny little bark, and this house we live in isn't that big, so we've got a 10-month-old baby trying to sleep, and this little whiny dog. I'm like, I've had to stay downstairs the last 2 nights, sleep on the couch just to try to quieten it from waking the baby up.
The dog's harder work than the baby. I love it.
It like at the moment, Pia's looking real mature, very independent, calm and collected, and the dog just requires all the attention.
Oh, that's funny. Hopefully you get it under control with a bit of training, and then things go in the right direction.
Yeah, couple of nights, I think.
Big weekend in running news, boys. We'll be talking about all that in a second, but we will recap our weeks first. We might just whiz through these tonight, eh? Do you want to go first quickly, Croaks? You haven't done much. You'll knock this over quick.
Yeah, so, Monday night when we recorded, I wasn't feeling very well. My throat was killing me. So the same thing continued on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I decided to go to the doctor because I was basically waking up, sweating every night. Couldn't really eat or swallow very well. So I went down to the doctor, which it's interesting now, you're not meant to go to doctor's surgery if you've got any cold or flu symptoms, which I obviously had, but it's like, well, how's a doctor going to know whether I need antibiotics for my throat without actually seeing my throat? I can't do that during a teleconference meeting. So I just went down anyway, and so I ended up being diagnosed with a throat infection. So I ended up with some antibiotics. So within a day, started taking them Wednesday. Thursday my throat was pretty good, but I was still having these fevers at night, particularly headaches, and there's no way I could run. So that continued all the way through till Saturday. Started to feel a little bit better, and I thought, I just want to jump on the treadmill for 30 minutes more, because I know that if I just I hadn't really left the house all week, and I know that if I take too long off running, my back and hips just really lock up. And so, I did 30 minutes at 5-minute Ks, put the heart rate strap on. And so for context, the Friday before, I cooled down after my session at 13K an hour, and averaged like low to mid 130s. I was running a K an hour slower and not having done a session beforehand, and my heart rate was about 10 beats higher for that. So got through 30 minutes, 6K. It was okay. And then today I went out for 45 minutes at Mulligan's and averaged like low 420. So I'm definitely feeling better. But it's just going to take, I think, a few days or a week of just jogging to start to sort of feel probably normal again. So what's that? 16? It's about 16K for the week.
16K, but on the other side of the sickness.
Yeah. So I'm improving. So I obviously didn't work all week, so I should be able to go back to work tomorrow.
Very good.
Yeah.
Moose, tell us what you've been doing.
Can't be pushing through that.
No need to either.
No.
Nothing.
I'm just going to jog.
Sickness.
I'm just going to jog for the next week.
What have you been doing, Moose?
Yeah, I got 58K for the week. That's with a day off too, which was today. So I pulled back a little because I felt like I was progressing really quite well, and I didn't really want to do anything silly. So Monday afternoon, I had some pretty bad DOMs from the cross country, so I just ran around town. Dumb idea. Went on the golf course, which is probably the worst option I could have done. Soggy, wet, pretty much like Bandura. I was trying to recover from. Next day, I went out to Paraparap, ran on some dirt roads, just really nice out there, 10K. Dare I say it, Croaks? I started to cover it well for probably 3 or 4 minutes.
It's addictive, isn't it? It's addictive feeling.
Hello.
How long was the run, though?
44 minutes.
Okay, not a great ratio of covering it to not covering it well.
There's just a few signs there where you're like, gee, I'm moving all right now. I'm moving all right, and I look down, my heart rate's good. Like,
isn't it the best feeling when you know you're covering the ground well and you're not putting in much effort?
Yeah, it is a great feeling. And I was going downhill, helpful. Probably had some tailwind, but they're the breaks. We get them. They come our way sometimes. I did a work, so I actually was off work because I thought I was getting the dog, so I took a few days off work. So Bree was at work on Wednesday, so I had my first day with Pia at home, like all day. That is some tough living. Like, no doubt these ladies and fathers who spend their time as mums and dads, those guys go to work every day.
Hang on, how old is she?
10 months.
And you've only had one, this is your first day.
Have you actually changed the nappy yet?
Yeah. You remember, you blokes don't work.
I do love that you're respecting the people that do stay at home with children, Julian. That's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a lot of energy. Like, there's just a lot of attention required all the time.
Oh, it's way harder than going to work.
It is. It honestly is. Like, there's no doubts about that. It's harder than going to work.
Hey, Moose, imagine if you're a single parent with no, like, family support around. Like, how tough would that be? Like, I would not cope.
No, I know. You would only know until you've done this. You wouldn't, you don't really get it until you're 6 hours into a day like this, and it's just maybe one of the sleeps during the day doesn't go well, and you're hoping to do something, because I've still got other work to do, and you're like, oh, not doing that work for the next 4 or 5 hours again. But anyway, I dropped Pia up. I didn't drop her there. I went up to my mum's house, and she just hung out with mum and my sister while I did a little workout around the block.
Hang on, you're just talking about how you've had the kid for the whole day for the first time, and you've dropped the kid off at your parents' house.
I'm going for a little run.
11:53, Croaks. This sounds like a good day.
Yeah, it's just called a timeout.
It was only an hour, boys. Okay. All right. Well, I did this little workout anyway. I did the Pickworth Drive at Harvey Street Loop. It's like 900 metres. It's a pretty lumpy little loop. Did 6 laps of it. Bloody hard work. I haven't done one of these workouts where I have to run extended period at hard effort. I've only ever gone probably a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and so this was 2 minute 45. Good lung buster. Legs felt pretty good. I got up to pace. Maybe I was average like 3:05s for the workout, which is over rolling terrain, so probably couldn't have done like the Ks. Like I don't think I could have held that effort for a full K, so the 900 was perfect. And then just jogged the next day. I was off to work that day, so just 7K in the morning before work. Ran with a buddy on Friday morning, and then that evening picked up the dog. So Friday night drove up, came off the aeroplane at like 7, so I picked it up about 8 from this like transport company. It had offices in Tullamarine, and by the time I got it home it's like 10 o'clock. So it's a rough first night. Like this puppy just come out of its litter, like first day ever away from its family, and so then I slept on the couch, didn't sleep too much, and then did a workout Saturday morning. Felt like shit, so I did 2 laps of my river loop, which is 9.2k. I did it at sort of marathon effort or marathon heart rate, which for me is sort of about 5 beats below my threshold. That's my guess, my estimate. I don't actually know that, just because I've never worn a heart rate monitor in a marathon. But if my threshold's around, I'm assuming that it would be about that. So I averaged 3:31s, but I felt crap. The shoes I didn't like, those Meta Speeds, they felt super harsh. And it was a really cold morning. My legs were just really kind of tied up. And the problem with, at the moment, my mileage is so low that like I'm warming up for 10, 15 minutes and it's not enough for me. I need to do some sort of at-home activations, maybe even get on the spin bike for 10 minutes before I go out, because it's taken me 10 minutes to warm up into the workout before I even feel good. But that was all right, I guess. And today I didn't do anything. So I've sort of got a bit of a sickness, not as bad as you, Croaks, but full of gross shit. My throat's pretty sore, and it just didn't work out practically to go to the group in the morning. So I planned on running in the Arvo, but by the time I sort of looked at my program, I'm like, gee, I've already done 58k, and that's about where I need to be. So yeah, it's just another week ticked off for me, another week without an injury. That's a boost. That's a big bonus.
What time do you think you'll run this weekend coming at Albert Park 10K? Be an interesting yardstick, won't it? Like, cross is good, but you're not really sure exactly what it means sometimes.
I think I can go under 32 minutes. That's just off Sandown, basically. Average about 3:10, 3:11 at Sandown. So I reckon I could probably do that for Albert Park. It depends who's around me, how much racing I'm doing.
Oh yeah, there'll be plenty of people around there.
I know, but
it's going to be deep.
Who I want to beat,
singlets.
Yeah. So there's definitely like certain people that would encourage you to run a bit faster if they were around you.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Croaks, you'll run?
31:40.
4 U-turns, potentially windy. He goes to another level in a race, though. Yeah, I like that prediction.
That's 3:10s, isn't it?
31:40 is, yeah. What'd you average at Sandown?
I think that.
Yeah, that's a good predictor.
Yeah, I'll go for that. Yeah. I'll be happy with that.
Take that. I'll go through my week quickly. Started the week off with 50 minutes Monday morning, 4:34s. Got out for half an hour Monday afternoon at 4:32s. Moved my workout from Tuesday to Wednesday. Bit of that soreness you're talking about moves from the cross country. My left hamstring was the sorest thing. Just like DOMS, nothing like an injury, but I just thought I'll give myself an extra 24 hours until I got to work out. So in the morning I met up with my mate Faz, who's helping me plan this fun run that's coming up this weekend. You know Faz Moose, bought a few pairs of shoes off you back in the day, I reckon.
Maybe a Garmin.
Yeah, probably kept her afloat through there, I reckon. Anthony, he rode the bike next to me because we were videotaping the course. He had a GoPro on his handlebars. So we did the 10K course, and then the guy who gave us the GoPro told us to swap the battery after we did the 10K course to do the 5K course, and then we just ignored him. Like, just thought, nah, we'll be right. And then we got halfway through the 5K course and the battery went flat. So we had to then go back out in the afternoon. I actually went out on the bike this time and rode the 5K course to get that video sorted, and then I jogged after that. So that was a big day, kind of like 15K in the morning. We did the start of the half marathon as well, like the 1.1K loop, so 16K in the morning, 5K bike ride after school, and then 31 minutes after that running. So that's good. And then Wednesday I did my workout. I did 6 by a mile off 90 seconds jog. It's just hovering around that kind of like 3:10 average pace. Felt good. I've kind of been doing 5 by a mile, 5 by 5 minutes recently, so it was good to add the extra one because I didn't have a race coming up this week. I just love that workout. Mile reps, kind of 5 minutes, 90-second jogs, plenty of time at that pace to recover. And, you get a bit of mileage up. It was 11.3K at 3:20 by the end of it. Thursday, actually I ran again in the afternoon Wednesday, 7K at 4:34s, and then Thursday got out for an hour 50, so that was 25.8K, 4:15s. Bit of single mountain bike track, which slows me down a bit, but I quite enjoy just being on that technical stuff. And it's kind of just this bike track that runs next to the river, so it's kind of really good scenery, and kind of get that done, and then I get rolling coming. I think I was running kind of like 4-minute Ks for the last 8 or 9K coming home back on the roads, so that was good. Got out for the afternoon one, 6.7K at 4:31s, and then Friday, bit of a recovery day, an hour in the morning and then 33 minutes in the afternoon. And then second workout was Saturday. So this one always gets me a bit. On paper, looks easy. 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute times 3 with 1 minute jog in between. So it gives you 26 minutes of running. And then I try to go through the gears. So, keep the 3 minutes kind of like that 10K, I guess, race effort. And then, kick down to probably, 5K kind of race effort for the 2 minutes, and then 1 minute. Pretty close to flat out, I guess, for the 1 minute's really trying to turn the legs over. I like this workout like before a 10K race, just a bit of a primer, like practice settling at that 10K pace for the 3 minutes, and then practice going much quicker than 10K pace for the 1 minute at the end there. So hovered around like 3 minutes, 2:58 for the 3 minute reps, and then around 2:55, 2:53ish for the 2 minute reps, and then the 1 minute reps. And I'm not sure how accurate this is, like 1 minute on the GPS, but it was 2:51, 2:44, 2:41. And it's a hard session because you only get that 1 minute jogging recovery, and it's hard to, like, every one of the reps is honest. And I think if you know you're doing it properly, you can almost feel like when you go back to the 3 minutes after the 1 minute hard, you feel like you got the brakes on. If you struggle and hit that pace for the 3 minutes, you're doing the workout too hard, I think. So that was good. And I actually got out late. I didn't start the workout till 10:30. Carly runs her long run Saturday morning. So got out, and it was still pretty cold at 10:30. Feels like 5, it says here. No, it feels like 3. A cold morning, but much better than going super early in the morning. And boys, I got this theory for you that I was thinking about when I was doing this workout. So like 10:30 a.m., maybe 10 a.m. is probably a pretty standard time that professional athletes do their workouts, yeah?
10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m., yeah. So usually I do my workout like 7 a.m., which means I'm having breakfast at 8 a.m. So I'm getting a meal in at breakfast. But when I did this workout on Saturday, I had like 2 bits of toast in the morning. I wouldn't say a meal, just something to kind of settle the stomach pre-workout. But then I'm not having my meal, my breakfast, which probably turns into brunch, at 11:45. So I'm actually missing a whole meal of calories. Got what I'm saying?
Fasting.
Yeah, but
you're
not
fasting.
But I'm thinking we hear about like Red's, that relative energy deficiency syndrome. Could we have a situation where a whole lot of our professional runners have REDs without even knowing it? Because back in the day, the blue collar like runners who were juggling elite running and work were doing their workouts first thing in the morning and having 3 meals a day. And now our professional athletes aren't having those meals a day, and they're doing that every day of the week. They've been missing 7 meals.
But on the flip side, Brady, like if I do that, and so like I would
have
feel
a full
straight.
meal?
So I have like toast before a session.
Yeah.
Then I would have like my up and go, my lollies and that sort of thing. So refuel straight after.
Yeah.
Then I would have my brunch or breakfast or whatever. But then I'd probably end up having I normally have like then a late lunch.
Okay, so you'd still, and you'd hit the higher calorie foods straight up, which would replace that breakfast meal.
Yeah, like you're putting a fair few calories straight in that first 15 minutes. Well, I do anyway. And then an hour later, I'll have my normal breakfast. And then I'll have like a late lunch.
So you say then you'd move your lunch to maybe like that 2:30 p.m., and then have your dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could see how people wouldn't do that though, couldn't you, Croaks?
Well, you could, but...
Finish their workout, have a massive...
Your theory, though, was assuming you know how our elite athletes eat.
Yeah, they could have a full... Maybe they get up at 7 a.m. and have a full meal before they go do their sessions.
Maybe.
I doubt it. You don't like doing sessions on a full stomach. But I was just thinking there could be something in that truffle.
I think you'll find they eat more than you think.
You reckon?
Like, I reckon
pre-workout?
I reckon like if they're working out at 10, I reckon they're having like a big bowl of oats, banana, like maybe even some sort of like electrolyte drink or carb drink in the morning before they work out.
Yeah.
I reckon they would end up eating more on their workout day than on their day off, just through like even just following a proper nutrition protocol that they would, like the elites would all have some sort of plan from a dietitian, and they wouldn't allow that.
Yeah, whereas the people like us who are used to doing the earlier workouts, you're still eating like you're doing an earlier workout even though you're doing it at 10:30.
Exactly, you're not changing it.
Yeah, anyway, could be something in that, I'm not sure. Then Saturday afternoon I got out for an easy jog, 7k, 426s. And then this morning, Sunday morning, I met up with Nath Stote, met out at Barmer. Hadn't been out there for so long because we've been racing so often. I don't like going out there when we've got to travel on a Saturday for a race because it's just too much travel then driving for a long run. So we usually stay local if we've been away on the Saturday. Met him out there, did starting his prep for Melbourne Marathon. So he had 32k, so I just did that with him. We averaged 401s. It felt pretty good, pretty flat. Saw some horses, some emus, some kangaroos, and got chased by a couple of dogs at one stage. So some bit of animals out there in the nature. But
How chased?
Probably. I'm going to say
on the other side of the fence and they're barking at him.
No. Crossed a bridge that we crossed to come with us. There was 2 kelpies on the other side of the river, just like lipping off, and you're like, you're on the wrong side of the river. What are you lipping, barking off for? Like, you're not going to do anything. But then the littlest one, I don't even know what kind of breed it was. That probably chased us for like 300 meters, I reckon. And it was never going to get to us because it only had small legs. But we definitely had to pick the pace up. I'm just clicking on my Strava now to see if we kicked it down. Nah. Oh, yeah, we went from a 422 to a 403 in that K. Got us rolling. So that was a good morning. Good to be home. Good to be in routine. A good training week in between 2 races because I'll do the 10K as well this week. And that was, how many Ks did I run for the week? No, that can't be right. It says 180. Maybe it was 180. There's a few Ks in there. Yeah, I think I ran 180.9 Ks, boys. There's some mileage for you. I guess I ran doubles every day, bar 180.9. Yeah,
ran a few for me.
Couple, yeah. Geez, I'm making you two boys look bad, aren't I? What'd you do? 16 and 50.
16.
You better make us look bad on Sunday. That's all that matters.
Racing's all that matters. Yep.
How much are you going to beat me by then?
Practice. I don't know. What did I beat you by at? What'd you run at Bandura? Probably the same as that.
33.06.
I ran 31.06, I think. So 2 minutes. So you run 31.40. I'll run 29.40.
You should be running faster than that.
Well, it's only 15 seconds off my... No, it's not. What's that? Yeah, 15 seconds off my PB, and this course is way harder.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Mate, I'm just trying to survive this season at the moment. I'm not really focusing on putting in PBs or anything. I've done the 10k PB, the half marathon PB. I'm just trying to score as many points as I can for my beloved Bendigo Bats team. Hope we win this premiership, and then I might focus on another A race a bit later on down the track. But that's where my attention is at the moment. Let's talk about some Patreon supporters, hey? Some absolute legends over there who support our show on Patreon. They keep the show alive each and every week. Been going 248 continuous weeks because of these legends over there. So, Bradley, who are you thanking?
I got Masood Jalaya. Masood lives in Wollongong in New South Wales. He has run 21:40 at the Centennial Park Run in 2019, 1:37 at Blackmore's Sydney Half Marathon, also in 2019, and could be a data scientist at Woolworths. So thank you for your support. What is a data scientist at Woolworths? What do you reckon that involves?
That would be involved, this is just a guess, but I reckon I'm pretty right. It would involve tracking like the sales and stuff.
Yeah.
You know who used to do that? Mark Kerwin. Remember Mark Kerwin,
yeah.
Moose? He's a good marathon.
Melbourne Uni.
Yeah, Irish guy. His job used to be looking at stuff like it was on the edge of the aisle, the ends of the aisle, and track the numbers on what they sell when they're on like the end of the aisle compared to like in the aisle, you know, when they're on special and stuff.
Yeah, there's a fair bit going on with those sort of big companies.
Yeah. Be pretty interesting actually if you liked your numbers, looking at that stuff.
Yeah, you got to be good at Excel.
You'd probably be good with numbers, yeah, for sure. Very smart guy, I'm sure. Who you got, Moose?
I got Emma Asher. So Emma may have won the 50 to 54 age group at Melbourne Marathon 5K. What year? Last year?
Yeah, last year. You know how they've got like a website of all the winners?
No.
Her name's listed on that. Yeah, they do. All the age groupers.
Yeah, okay.
And open, everyone. Yeah, anyone who wins their age category gets listed on like a separate web page in the results.
That's all we got on her anyway. But Emma is an English name with roots in an old Germanic word meaning whole or universe. Interesting stuff there, Brady.
Didn't have much on Emma, so I thought I'd have to go back to the old name meaning stuff. So
done well there.
Thanks for your support, Emma. Everything pretty locked down. Couldn't find much on you apart from that Melbourne Marathon 5K age group win, so well done on that one. I'm going to thank Mitchell Wilson from Heidelberg in Victoria. He's got some fast PBs, boys. 1:55 for 800 metres. That quicker than you, Croaks?
No, I got 1:53.
Ooh, that'd be quicker than you, though, wouldn't it, Moose?
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
You've broken two, yeah.
I've never run 800, but yes.
Never done a competitive 800 before?
No, never.
Oh, right, that's interesting. We should get you teed up for that. Actually,
we shouldn't.
Got some stuff coming up about potential races. He's been in Europe training with Kat Bissett and Lyndon Hall. A few photos on his Instagram there and Strava photos. So keeping very good company. Represents Collingwood Athletics Club. Premier Division team Collingwood. Don't think they're having a great season at the moment.
No, they went all right.
Did
they went all right at Bundoora.
Where are they sitting on the ladder?
No, not that high, but they actually went all right there. At Bundoora, they scored a few more points than normal.
Oh, that's good. That's good that you know that kind of stuff as well. And his other PB is 9:40. So he's a bit more of a fast twitch guy, I think. But he's got 9:48 for 3K, 16 flat for 5K, 35:56 for 10K, and he ran a marathon in 3:27. So got some range about him, and yeah, keeping some good company. So thank you, Mitchell, for your Patreon support. How do people sign up, Croaks, if they want to support us on Patreon?
Go to Patreon. Go to our Instagram and find the link there, I believe.
Link in bio there. Yep, correct.
That's right. I've never signed up.
Haven't you?
No.
Should
not giving you blokes money.
Should support us, mate. Then we can pay for like little projects and stuff. Thanks to all the legends over there, keeping the show alive. Some stuff in the works over there. So we're looking after you, and hopefully you enjoyed this early release. And on that running news, Croaks, there were a couple of inquiries about your talk last week of potentially attacking the Australian 50k record. Rumour has it Dion Finocchiaro is aware of it, but not too concerned at this stage. Gold Coast 50k, that's coming up in December. Hillbilly Endurance team have written in saying they'll look after you with a couple of beers afterwards if you potentially go up there. And also an inquiry's come in from the Surf Coast Century about us potentially taking down that record, the 100k record, to break 7 hours to win some prize money. Remember that last week, boys? $2,000 if you can break that.
Yeah.
It's
I like it.
It's 4:11 pace average. We'll smash that.
I got some bad news on that one though.
Well, you got a wedding that day or something?
It's Viv's birthday that day, and it's Lily's birthday on the Monday, so it's going to be birthday weekend. Lily will have her birthday party that weekend.
Yeah, what about perfect place? Go down to Anglesey, sleep on Moose's couch, show her the new dog.
You know, a 4-year-old normally has their friends at a birthday party.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think of that.
I'll bring some friends.
Yeah, so Surf Coast Century's out for me, boys. Sorry.
Oh, that's not good. So, Moose, I did have in the notes here who's going to be our 4th team member, but we're going to have to find 2 team members.
Won't be hard, mate.
Yeah,
won't be hard.
Yeah, just pull a couple of Surf Coast Track Club guys.
Doesn't clash with AB, does it?
Nah, it's in like September, isn't it?
Yeah, I can pull a few ones in. I can pull a few people that love cash.
Yeah,
that'll run for the cash.
I'm just looking at the date. Hopefully it's not the same day as the 10 relays, is it? Couldn't be.
No.
Jeez, that could hurt. That could hurt it. I'm just looking that up now. 17th of September, Moose. What date's 10 relays? Do you know off the top of your head?
No, I don't actually, but you can tell me.
I'll have a look at that in a second. So we would have to average 4:11 pace. Is it that technical down there? Like, is that going to be hard on this course?
Look, it won't be easy. It won't be easy, but if it's broken up into 4 legs, then yeah, I would think that like a really good runner could run this in probably 4:20s the whole way. So I think it's like if you break it up, you only do one hard effort for 25k, 28k, whatever it ends up being. Like doable for sure. Will depend a lot on the weather actually. Leg 3 can cop some mud. And if it's real wet, then you'll be sliding everywhere. A lot of those climbs turn into like clay. So yeah, that could affect the pace that you can handle.
Wow, it is the same day as 10 relays.
Oh boy,
this is not good.
Oh boy,
probably should have cut this from the start.
Well, this is the authentic vibe of our show that we're just trying to think of race possibilities. Can the Geelong Cats survive without you, Moose? 10 relays, that's the question.
Oh, 10. I'll be in the thirds in 10 relays. That's way too short.
Okay, so you're still committed, you reckon?
I want to just be there to celebrate our second place season trophy.
Yeah. 10 relays, that'll be the championship leg. Is that like the last race of the season?
That's the last one, yeah.
It's celebration. We get on the piss after that.
That's round 10. Yeah, I think they've already booked a party bus Bendigo and like filling eskies and stuff for the trip home.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. We should do something similar.
Yeah. Anyway, that idea might be gone. We'll talk off air. Let's talk about some actual good, amazing running performances. Let's kick things off for running news. The Commonwealth Games Marathon happened last night, 6 p.m. Australian time, which I liked on a Saturday night. Being able to sit down, turn on the 7 Plus app and watch the footage. I'll go through the results, boys, and then we'll unpack it all. So the men's race went first. Liam Adams, very aggressive off the front. I wasn't sure what he was doing. I was in a few message groups. I'm like, what is Liam doing here? Really shook things up. Really gapped some guys who were pretty quick. A few 204, 205 marathon guys in there. And just kind of got away from him a bit. Just created a bit of panic. He ended up finishing 4th in the race. They caught him, and then they didn't quite drop him, and then the 2 broke away, but he fought on pretty well for 4th. He ran 2:13.23. Half marathon split was 64 something, so he was on PB pace. His PB's 2:10, and he was over the hills much quicker than that PB pace. Just 7 seconds off the bronze medal. Was working hard to pull in the Kenyan in 3rd, but couldn't quite get him. Probably ran out of real estate there. And the other Australian in the race, Andy Buchanan, was 7th in 2:15.40. A bit more even than Liam. He was 67.44, 67.56. Took down some fast guys, Andy. A couple of sub 2:10 guys, 1 2:10 guy behind him as well. So, yeah, pretty pleasing results from both those boys there. Tell me what you thought of it, Bradley. And then Moose, it's your go.
So early on, like when Liam gapped him, like I wasn't that... Like I thought, okay, fair enough. Like he's not running outside of what he's capable of because I think they were on like maybe 2:12 marathon pace early. And it also just made the coverage a bit more exciting. Yeah, sometimes when you're watching a marathon, especially sometimes Com Games where they just play around for the first half, it's not that exciting to watch. So at least made it really exciting. Where I started to get a little bit worried was when he started dropping like 15-minute or even sub 15-minute 5K splits. I think there was like a 10K in there that was close to like 30 minutes. I thought, that is now, a lot faster than his like current marathon pace, and it's not exactly flat. That could come back to bite him. And then when it sort of looked like he was struggling, I thought with 12K to go, and I thought, oh, this could get ugly. But Liam's just and I think it's because he runs like a lot of Ks and he's just strong. And so even though he's hurting, he seems to be able to hold it together pretty well. So I thought he did well to hold on as well as he did, given how aggressive he was early. And Andy's run, just mature, for a guy that hasn't run many marathons, to be able to just pace that well, I thought it was a good solid effort.
Yeah, and what was a bit deceiving with Liam's, because they threw up the 5K split, and you're like, oh, this isn't ridiculous. He's just running at 2:11, 2:12 pace. But it didn't take into account that the first K was 3:30. They literally were jogging that first K. So it made that first 5K look slower than it actually was. It was a 1K jog into a 4K, harder effort.
Yeah.
Moose, what do you think when you're watching it, sitting back in Anglesey, the men's race?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. Certainly got some social media attention when Liam had gone out and basically decided that he was going to make sure the race was fast, because he didn't break away. At any given time, someone was only probably 10 seconds behind. Did he get further than 10 seconds in front of anybody?
Oh, I'm not 100%
I don't think
sure.
so. Yeah, it was about that. A little surge from the pack, and they were on him.
Yeah. So what he essentially did was he just got rid of anyone who wasn't going to be in the front pack. He got rid of anyone who wasn't going to be in the top 5 basically early on, and he just created a faster pace, which you could tell the others weren't interested in, but they weren't respecting him. I mean, they respected him enough to not just let him go. So they didn't want to. They would. Well, I'm not sure if they knew his PBs or not, or him as an athlete, but they obviously thought, let's not give this bloke 2 minutes. Let's keep him in range, and I don't think they probably enjoyed that. I think those guys would have been willing to sit back and let it turn into a bit of a battle over the last 12K, bit closer to what the women's race was.
Do you think this strategy helped him or harmed his chance of getting the medal?
You'll never know, but I think he probably was a more likely chance of getting a medal if he didn't do this.
Yeah, so he still beat some fast guys. It's that strategy, the kind of, fast, slow, I think sorted a few guys out who didn't want it to be fast, slow.
Yeah, I think if he didn't quite go to the extreme of going through in 64, whatever it was, maybe he goes through in a minute slower. It's still going to be fast enough to separate the top pack, but it at least gives him a chance to battle. I guess he gets to put himself against the others a little bit more closely towards the end. Because they didn't go out that hard and they got to sit with a pack through the guts of the race. So if they had have hit 30K on more of an even keel, I actually would have backed him in to finish over those hills more strongly than the others and pick himself up a medal.
How many messages did you get about his shoes during the race? I was getting messages and I don't even know stuff about shoes. I don't know why people are messaging me, asking me what pair of shoes Liam's wearing.
How about the fucking commentators calling out that it's not a super shoe and then there's people applauding him for not. I'm like, it's a fucking super shoe, just coloured it in. Yeah. Let's get real here for a second. If you don't know what shoe it is, why you shouldn't be. I mean, the commentaries are.
That's coming up a bit later on when I've got some quick fire questions.
There's all this talk about Liam not having a sponsor. I tell you what he needs. He needs a bloody texter company to sponsor him, because I tell you what, he goes through a fair few texters colouring in those shoes. When I was sharing with him in Launceston, he spent the afternoon with a texter on his shoe. So, and I'm not sure. I reckon he might do some modifications to the shoe. I don't know if it's because they might rub in particular ways, but I've got a feeling that he might cut bits off here and there, to suit his foot.
Really?
And I think that's why they look a bit different to the other to the
they
others.
Definitely looked flatter. Like they looked a bit. They kind of just looked like a fucked old shoe.
It's almost like he's taken like the collar of the shoe off a little bit, and they almost look more like slides, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it looked flatter on the top, didn't it? Like it didn't. Yeah, it took a lot of people, zooming in on the actual footage to be able to see what it was.
It was a Nike Vaporfly, though. We know that much, and maybe adjusted, altered, like you said, Craigs. But I was very impressed with him finishing in 4th position and coming home strongly. I thought when he was passed, it was all over for Liam. I thought it'd be a good job to finish today. So how he came back from that, quite impressive.
Especially when 30K of the marathon, if you've already put yourself in a fair bit of hurt, 12, as I was saying to my brother last night, the last 10K of the marathon is not 10K. It feels like 20K. And the fact that he put himself into so much hurt already, it's pretty incredible to hang on as well as he did.
Liam ain't the guy jogging it in, though, is he?
Nah.
His personality is always going to go hard. So that's men's race there. Women's race was, I think they started maybe 90 minutes into the men's race, 7:30. Was that right?
Yeah, I think they ended up starting a little bit later than they meant to. They must have had to wait for maybe one of the athletes to get through a lap or something, because I think they were meant to start 90 minutes, but I reckon they started 8 minutes late or something like that. But
the men were slow to start as well. They weren't 6 p.m. because the wheelchairs were still coming in, so maybe that's the problem there. Bigger pack in this race, wasn't it? And a lot of dominance from the Australian ladies. Jess Stenson, Eloise, Wellings and Sinead Diver in that front pack. Very small field. I think it was probably... the men's field wasn't huge. I reckon maybe... Did anyone get a number?
I think it was on the...
20.
Yeah, about 20
in the men's.
And I reckon about 16 in the women's.
There was 16.
Okay.
That's right.
Yep, I have got the results up, but they've given to me in
15.
In nations list. I wonder if I can get them all together.
I think it was 16. Yeah, 16.
Yeah, so the Australian girls very prominent at the front there. And then I don't know what K mark it was, you guys might know better than me, it just started to separate. So Jess Stenson was doing a lot of the driving pace there with the Namibian, have I said that right?
That's pretty good from you.
Yeah, that's pretty good, mate. And the Kenyan sitting with her. Eloise kind of dropped off a bit. The Tanzanian, she was a pretty smooth operator, I thought. Beautiful technique. She dropped off a bit as well. And it looked like it was a battle for the 3 medals. They were kind of sorted out. And then Jess just kept breaking away. Huge run. She won the race. She got the gold medal, which now goes with her 2 Commonwealth Games bronze medals in 2:27.31. Eloise did come in 4th in 2:30.51, and Sinead 5th in 2:31.06. Moose, you can go first this time. What do you think? Very dominant performance from Jess.
Yeah, well, this is... I mean, she beat Helen Johannes. Is that how you pronounce it? Johannes?
Yeah.
Well, she is a class athlete.
2:19 lady.
Exactly. World bronze medal. She won the Com Games. She is the class athlete and was almost an unbackable favourite going in. But she didn't... It was Jess who won the race, if that makes sense. She didn't just rely on someone having a bad day or whatever. Jess won that race on her own bat by pushing the pace early. And you could see her move to the front and just start to slowly grind it where everyone dropped off one by one by one. And her splits at the end was nothing short of incredible when you saw the actual course and how steep it was. And it was almost unrelenting towards the end. And the way that she's run that fast with amazing split like that, she deserves all the credit for winning that race.
Oh, I just sent through her splits today. This is just from Strava. I haven't seen any official. I'd love to see the official 5K timing match splits. But from 28K onwards, she was rolling 220 to... this is just her last 14K. 3:14, 3:23, 3:19, 22, 12, 16, 21, 18, 15, 19, 31, 18, 24, 10, 38.
And that's
she's averaged 3:20 over the last 14K.
You put that on the Gold Coast Marathon or you put that at Berlin, that's a great run. On this course, that is a spectacular run worthy of a gold medal.
300 metres elevation gain.
This run at the World Champs, this gets her in the top 10 in my mind. the quality of this run it's almost like it deserved more than the Com Games. And I know that sounds bad because she won the gold medal, but this was in a performance where, like, if you put this against other competitors, the way she did it, she made it look easy with how she executed it. Like, I'm sure if there were more people around, she's going faster than that.
Well, she made it look, the splits didn't add up to how she made it look. Like, you could see the carnage, dropping everyone, but it's not until you see the splits and you're like, wow, that's why she's dropping everyone. Like, that was, she's a 2:25 lady and she's run the last 14K at 2:20, 2:21 pace and made it look easy over hills.
Yeah. I mean, I will put my hand up and say I underestimated how good she is. And that's crazy given her resume in running, but maybe I saw a few races earlier this year, even the half where I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm backing Sinead in, like, as our top finisher. And I'm going to say I underestimated Jess, and she proved me wrong big time.
Some facts here about the performance. First female athlete of any country to win 3 Commonwealth Games Marathon medals. First Aussie gold medal for 16 years in that event. 5th fastest in Com Games history. The last 32 years, only once won in a faster time. Like, there's some stats for you.
Given the course, you have to remember how hard this course was. That is the thing here.
Well, she's only run 2 minutes off her PB. Like, you look at everyone else in that field, they're running 5 minutes plus off their PB.
She had COVID 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so much to be impressed by. And, like, all the accolades back home she's getting and whatever, like, she deserves every one, because this wasn't she can only race against who's around her, right? And, yes, the field was decimated, 16 people. Like, we'll get into it later, but 2 Kenyans missing. She can only beat who shows up. And so I'm going to say that if there were, like, chuck another couple of Kenyans up front there, Jess is finding a way to beat him last night.
I agree. Her championship record is amazing. So that she's done that stuff at the Com Games. Also 9th and 10th at the World Champs. She's 2nd at Gold Coast, which is gold label, 4th at Toronto, gold label, 10th at London Marathon, gold label, 22nd and 38th at both her Olympics, 1st at Melbourne. Like, she just, and her coach as well, Adam Diddick, needs a bit of praise. They get it right on the big stage every time she pretty much races.
With a history of injury as well. Like, she and sickness. So she misses that Japanese race in January, comes back from, like, the hip stress, whatever it was, bone stress. That's off the back of a stressy the year before, gets COVID. Like, this isn't just smooth run. This is dealing with sort of setbacks, hurdles. It's showing resilience. It is a great run. It's more than a great run. I thought it was incredible, as you can tell.
I was getting pretty emotional watching the finish. Like, nearly had the lump in the throat, because she's such a nice person. She is thanking the crowd for cheering her as she's winning the race. Like, it wasn't about how good am I, this is good, I've just won a gold medal. It's just like, thank you for applauding me as I'm finishing. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. But I think sometimes maybe her nice personality, people forget that she is a, like, ridiculously, like, amazing racer. Like, and I think she cares so much for representing her country.
100%. Yeah, I think you're right. Just because she's nice, we don't see the killer instinct in her.
But she'll kill.
Like, we don't when it's really there.
Yeah.
When it's really there, that's what.
Yeah. What an ambassador we have for our sport here in Australia. Eloise 4th. Do any comments there in 2:30.51, and then Sinead just 17 seconds behind in 5th, 2:31.06.
Yeah, Sinead obviously had COVID a couple of weeks ago, and also had a glute injury as well, I think. So by all accounts, she was pretty happy with her run. Eloise, she was pretty strong as well, but just couldn't go with the pace when it went. Held on well, though.
Croaks, anything more about the marathon before we move on?
I just when you sent through those, like I knew Jess's run was incredible, but it wasn't until you sent through her splits, and I'm looking at like the last 15K of how many sub 3 minute 20 kilometers are in there over those hills, and like that's just legit. Like imagine like that's legit on a flat last 15K of a marathon, let alone the hills. So I think she's due to rewrite her marathon PB on the right day. And I thought Sinead actually rallied pretty well, because she fell off a lot earlier than I thought, and I thought it was going to be a pretty long day, but she rallied and was catching Eloise towards the end. So that's true. Good result.
Yeah, 15 seconds between them in the end, and it looked like it was probably that distance at 30K, didn't it, at least?
Yeah.
So she's come back well there. The significance, boys, of Commonwealth Games with the influence it has in Australian media amongst the mass population. Any comments there? Because, I know a lot of people asking me today, talking to me about it, just, did you see the marathon? How good was it? Amazing. Who would have no idea that the World Champs happened last week? It's very, you kind of touched on it already, Moose, but winning these medals is very good for the brand of Australian distance running amongst the public.
Yeah, it's a tough one, this Com Games, because an hour before the race started, I saw the field lists, and I thought there's 16 people in this race, and there's no the East Africans aren't sending their best teams at all. Scotland didn't send any runners. South Africa didn't send runners. New Zealand, no runners. England had
Canada, no runners.
One runner. Yeah, no one from Canada. So it's not like a championship that seems to get any respect outside of Australia, maybe Wales. That's just how it appears. My immediate thought was, these girls should be, our Australians should be at the World Champs competing against the best in the world, just on that sort of top level, because the Com Games isn't the top level of running. But as soon as I started to watch, I thought, well, we're never going to see this, really. We're never going to see Australian singles at the front of a World Champs or an Olympics, really. So this is actually quite fun. I love seeing, these girls are in for a chance to win a medal. The whole public celebrates them as national heroes. I can see why they do it. It makes so much sense why you would pick the Com Games over doing the World Champs, even if the running community doesn't view it the same as the World Champs, if that makes sense.
The global running community, yeah.
Even the Australian running, we all know, right? There's 16 people, and this isn't the same sort of field as a World Champs, and it's not, the prestige isn't quite there. The running community is very different from the community or the general public who see The Age this morning, or who see Channel 7, and it's just it's just perceived differently by different communities. But watching Jess win the race, I kind of forgot all that, because I just love seeing her win.
Yeah, so good. Anything else to add?
What do you think, Croaks?
Well, you guys, we spoke about it off air. And this is really hard to say, because I know the whole country's up and about, but personally, I really struggle to get excited for Commonwealth Games. And I don't know whether that's just because I'm old and cynical now, or because when you're young, the Commonwealth Games are on, you're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to be an athlete like that? And then as you get older, you start thinking about why do the Australians love the Commonwealth Games so much? And then you start, because they love, the media love bringing out the old stories of Deke, and I guess before the Commonwealth Games, it was the Empire Games. So you had your John Landys and things like that. But what people don't also realise is that when Deke won the Commonwealth Games in 1982, there wasn't a World Athletics Championships. There was just the Olympics and Com Games as, I guess, the major championships outside of a national championship and then the major marathons. So I feel like if countries like Canada and South Africa aren't willing to send one marathon, a male or female, to a Commonwealth Games, like they're big countries in the Commonwealth, what does that say about the event? Likewise, the top Kenyans, why don't they want to go? I know the other difference now is sport. There's so much more money involved in sport.
Yeah.
Back in the 80s, you went, Kipchoge, for example, probably gets hundreds of thousands of dollars by going to Berlin. He won't get that at the Commonwealth Games, whereas all the athletes back in the 80s were getting basically nothing anyway. So there was more incentive to go to Commonwealth Games.
Do they get any cash? Like the world champs is like $70,000 if they won. Does Games pay out any money?
I doubt it.
I don't know. That's a good question.
It wouldn't be a lot. I wouldn't have thought.
And obviously, there's different ways you can financially benefit from sponsor bonuses or go on talking tours and stuff like that. But yeah, interesting to see if they get any cash just from the actual performance.
Yeah, I guess what I'm getting at, it's just a shame that other countries don't place as much importance on the Commonwealth Games as what Australia does, because if they did, then it would be a legitimate championship. Like, you'd have the best of the best there. That being said, like in the coming week, the men's 1500, like outside of Ingebrigtsen's, like that is like a legit field. You've got like the top Kenyans there, the Europeans are so strong. You got your Aussies, so it almost is like a world-class field. But
isn't Whiteman not running?
Oh, is Whiteman not running?
I think he's doing the 800 instead.
I think he's doing 800 at Europeans.
Let me check that. I've got it open right now.
Yeah, but it's a tough conversation.
You're right. Whiteman, Kurt, and Gourley are there.
Yeah, so like it's a tough conversation to have, and like people are going to bag the shit out of us about saying it, but it's just, I don't know, it's lost its prestige a little bit, and we don't obviously want to take anything away from like Jess's run last night, because it doesn't matter like who she was up against last night. Like the time that she ran, as you said, Moose, is probably the equivalent of a sub. Like top 10 at World Champs like last week in Eugene. So,
but this new quota number's new though, isn't it? Like, and that has an impact on things where they can only send you, say, 70 people now. So you got to pick who you're sending for your best medal chances.
Well, that also comes back down to like countries having money and budgets for this thing.
But isn't it that's enforced on them from the Commonwealth Games? I think they give them the quota spot.
Well, I don't know, but I guess it comes, but even then, that still comes down to money, how many, spots they can have in the village or whatever. It all costs money, and I guess the organising committee, and that's why they're struggling for host cities and host nations now. No one wants to host it because it costs so much money.
Yeah, it's going to Ballarat next time.
Well, it's not even it's going everywhere, isn't it? To Ballarat, yeah. It's going to Bendigo. It's like, it's not even in one area next time.
Regionals. Yeah, you're right. I'm looking through this 1,500 metre list, and if one of these boys gets a win, they've got to get over some big players there. Yeah, I think we the influence, how many young kids watch Jess do that overnight? How many mums who want to go out for getting to run and go out for jogging? Like, that has a very big flow-on effect in the Australian community. And I'm just glad that we use 3 quota spots to put them on that team. Because potentially you could say, hey, we just want to send one and do your best kind of thing, and put 2 spots somewhere else.
That's a good point you make, because at the end of the day, if your sport is not on TV, then it's never going to grow. So the fact that you had an Aussie there on primetime TV winning a major marathon is good for the next generation. I guess that's just the old cynical guy in me. Like, if I was a 10-year-old kid watching that, then I would have been like, oh, this is awesome. Like, how good is it? We've had an Aussie win a Com Games. Which I'm obviously very happy for Jess, but I guess we're just
you're
chatting.
Get some shocking emails. Yeah, I love how he said as well, Moose. It's like, we've bagged it out. I'm like, hang on, this is your opinion here.
No, yeah. I think you get what I'm saying though, in terms of it's not as prestigious across the whole Commonwealth as it used to be.
No, it's you're not alone in your thoughts, Brad. It's a pretty common discussion. Like, we have it on our long run. I can't see the championships lasting past regional Victoria. I'm just not sure whether any city would have the money or would think it would be worthy to invest in. And let's just be realistic about it. There was 16 people in the race, and a lot of them weren't sort of the class that you get at other events. But we saw a marathon on TV, which is rare, and we enjoyed watching it. So, yeah, I like, here's my idea. Let's move it to an under-23 championships. Like, pretty much every event at the Com Games is under-23 only. So you're sending your junior national teams in soccer or basketball or whatever. And you're sending your junior athletes. You make, instead of the marathon, you make it a half marathon. So you're still going to get guys that won't sacrifice running a marathon, like sacrifice other marathons for the Com Games, where they're like Australia. I just looked it up. Australia don't get any money for any medals at the Com Games. So
but then you've got the issue is if it's an under-23 comp that like a country's willing to fund, like, you know, developmental athletes, when like most countries and sporting budgets don't even support the elite open athletes. So why would they spend all this money to send under-23s? It's a tough conversation. Like, it's a tough conversation, and, you know, I guess we're just trying to. Well, I'm trying to be honest, because I guess that's what our show is all about, is being pretty, you know, honest and to the point.
Let's see how the rest of the championships go, and how successful they are in terms of like watchability, how much traction they get in the country, that kind of thing.
Crowd numbers, stuff like that.
Crowd numbers were good on the marathon. Like, that was fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
how good's the kids trying to keep up alongside them? That's my favourite part of watching that stuff.
Mate, it's a bit stiff. Like, these guys are copping hills at the 40k mark of the marathon, and these fresh guys that are obviously pretty fit are like, yeah, I'll run next to you. Of course you can run next to them. They've been going for 40 kilometres and it's a hill. But yeah, it was good. Like, the finish line, you could see heaps of crowd, heaps of noise. So perhaps it can work. Perhaps it can.
We'll see. Going to go local now, boys. I'm going back to Australia. South Australia had their state cross-country champs, so this is happening kind of all over Australia at the moment, because people are getting ready to pick their state teams for the Australian cross-country champs, which we spoke about last week. Matt Clark got the win easy in the South Australian men's race from Adrian Potter, and Max Stevens was third there. Kaylin Adams won the women's. Lucy Morvey and Brooke Hines was third in that one. So potentially some names here to see at the Australian Champs in a few weeks. In Queensland, Lauren Kerweck won that one from Samantha Phillips and Alana Stevenson, who is a big fan of the show, I'm told. And Aiden Hobbs won the men's from Tim Fisk and Eli Barker.
Don't get Hobbsy wrong.
Baker.
Baker there, mate.
Baker. So this is what happens when we record on a Sunday night, a few beers deep, boys. It's a bit hard to read. So some good names, some good results there. Keep an eye out for those when the Australian champs come up in a few weeks' time. I think they're picking the Vic team tomorrow, Moose.
Picking it? Don't you have to nominate for it?
Had to nominate, and then they're announcing it tomorrow.
But yeah, you had to be in the top 8 or the top 10 though, right? They don't just, you can't nominate if you don't run Badura.
They're only taking 6.
Yeah.
New South Wales listed their team. They're taking 10.
Oh,
so
well.
I think Victoria's. You can only score 4 people.
What? Do they not have enough uniforms for them to buy?
That's what I think. Wouldn't you try to take like 30 just to like get the money up?
Interesting. Yeah. Well, they're not. But you can't nominate. Say like Brett Robinson can't go. I'd like to run National Cross.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, so Bandura wasn't.
There was a thing in the clause saying like, if you don't race, you can probably still go. Right. Because I was thinking the same thing with Andy potentially. Like, you know, if he wanted to put his hand up and go, but you're off at the Com Games.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see who puts their hand up to go for that team. Bradley, take us to the Blackmore Sydney Marathon. Some big news out of there this week.
All right, I'll just read the statement because I'm still trying to get my head around it a little bit myself. We're thrilled to announce the Blackmore Sydney Marathon as a candidate race for the Abbott World Marathon Majors. Over the next 3 years, the Blackmore Sydney Marathon will be required to meet strict criteria to achieve major status by 2025. If successful, Sydney Marathon will join an esteemed group of races: Tokyo Marathon, Boston Marathon, London, Berlin, Chicago, and New York City Marathon. No city in the world has a better combination of natural beauty, love of sport, and iconic infrastructure for hosting a marathon than Sydney. Achieving the status of an Abbott World Marathon Major would cement Sydney's position as one of the world's greatest sporting event cities. Throughout the 3-year candidacy period, the Blackmore Sydney Marathon will attract thousands of visitors to the harbour city, including the world's greatest long-distance runners and wheelchair athletes. This is great news for runners of all levels and abilities. There will be an increase in entertainment on the course with a vastly improved race day experience, cheered on by more people and more runners celebrating Sydney. So we're told from Wayne Larden, who runs the event, that there are a max of 3 new majors to be added. Cape Town and Chengdu are in candidacy already, and if we meet criteria 2 years in a row out of a 3-year review period, we are in.
Got a lot of coverage within the running circles.
Yeah, so my question here is, there's a max of 3 new majors to be added. So there's going to be 3 added, and then in this candidacy period, Cape Town are already in it, Chengdu are in it, Sydney's hoping to be in it, but then I wonder if there's other major marathons around the world that are also trying to get into that, and then they choose 3 of those that are in the candidacy. Is that how you read it?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I've seen any press around other... I definitely knew that Cape Town and Chengdu was, but I haven't heard any other big races announcing they're in a similar program. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when Sydney, obviously, Wayne Lyden sent me a message 2 weeks ago saying we've got a huge announcement. We're gonna be bringing this, announcing this thing next week. So I'd expect that maybe other races, if they were, they'd be announcing more hype about it. Maybe I don't know, but yeah.
But I guess the thing is, if Sydney is the only other one, and Cape Town and Chengdu are already in there, and they're going to name another 3 marathon majors, then you'd assume that Cape Town and Chengdu are lock-ins then.
Yeah, and from my impressions talking to him, they're very confident, I think is the word to say, that they can tick off the requirements to be a world marathon major in 2025.
Where is Chengdu? Any idea?
Is it China? I think it's China. Do you think we need another 3?
You don't need another. No. What's
capital of
what do you get?
southwestern China's Shizu province, Brad.
What do you get from a
Population of
world
16.3
marathon
mil.
major that you're not getting from another event?
To say you've done one?
Yeah, I mean, I've been there for Tokyo, and I've done Berlin. I haven't seen any others in person, but obviously they're well known. They get masses of people, which is helpful. Now, do they get masses of people because they're a major, or are they a major because they get masses of people? I think New York, Boston, not going to have any. London, not going to have any dramas getting people. Berlin as well. Being a world major gives you so much credibility as a race. The
issue I have with it as well is, to me, a world marathon major, they're not all fast courses. New York's not fast, Boston's not fast, but there's history to them. They're obviously well-known cities and places. So I get that, Sydney is probably a bucket list for people to visit because, running over the iconic Harbour Bridge is awesome. But when you're talking about Chengdu, I'd never even heard of Chengdu before tonight. And I've never heard of it as being a top marathon in the past where people run. We've been doing this show for 5 years now, and it's not come up once ever going, this person ran 2:05 at Chengdu or anything like that. So I would, and Cape Town obviously is a well-known city as well. So I think it needs to be a well-known city to be a world marathon major. And to me, Chengdu might have a big population, but it's not on my. Maybe I didn't listen in geography, the lesson they taught us about Chengdu. But yeah, anyway.
Even Cape Town, it's
Ali did Cape Town, didn't she?
She did, yeah, and that was the first race that she took advantage of being a label athlete at the time, because Cape Town was labelled maybe silver, And so in terms, like in order to satisfy the requirements of being silver label, you need to have representation from multiple continents, from labelled athletes. And so that's why she got the invite over with appearance money, all that kind of shit. So, like, that's how I know Cape Town, but it wasn't a very fast race, and there didn't seem that much, like, how would I say, like, prestige about it.
I've got a question for you boys. So traditionally, I would say that Gold Coast and Melbourne marathons attract the majority of our elite marathoners. Is that a fair assumption? Over the last 10 years, I'd say most of our elite marathoners that are in the country and want to run a marathon have either run Gold Coast or Melbourne instead of Sydney.
Correct.
So if this becomes a world marathon major, will more of our elite athletes run Sydney, and what impact will that have on Gold Coast and Melbourne?
Well,
the ranking point. So in my mind, ranking points is going to be very important. So going forward into the next,
because
what is
the
it like?
qualifier's gone down to 209.
Yeah, that's right. And so if you're finishing higher, if these world majors get gold label status, then you're getting pretty good points if you run fast at these races. So the more gold label races, the more majors. They're actually like platinum label, aren't they?
Yeah.
So the more of those out there, the better chance there is for athletes to qualify through the ranking system. So I'm sure that you would get high profile Australians going there, and even like you would think that they would line that up with the Australian Championships, Oceania Championships, where the points just get higher and higher and higher.
You'd also get higher quality international athletes to that event as well, because
definitely
top 5 at a world marathon major gives you automatic. So you know how the qualification is now 209.30. If you finish top 5 at a world marathon major, that's the equivalent of a sub 209.30.
This would be one quicker than 206, 221 for men's and women's, if it becomes a world marathon major.
Yeah.
The quality they're going to have to bring into the race.
They're going to have to improve the course, especially the stages that I've watched at the end, the twisting and turning through like Sydney Harbour area, running on the tiles.
That's the
pavers.
That's the iconic bit though, Moose. I know what you mean. You're saying, hey, for fast times, they've got to get rid of some of those twists and turns. But for the 99% of the participants in the race, that's what they're there to do. Run on those tiles towards the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The Sydney Opera House. Yeah,
I think you got to provide a more stable course almost, because there's some pretty unstable bits towards the end from what I saw, like running off gutters and stuff. Like there's probably some bits they smooth out through there.
They'll have to tick these boxes, I think, as well.
Even to fit, like, let's say they go for 30,000 people. What's the smallest major out there? But to get that many people through that course, you're going to have to widen it up a bit.
I think that is one of the boxes they've got to tick, have X amount of number of participants. I know they were talking about they want to see a big increase, like the half marathoners going to the marathon.
Yeah.
To get the attendance up.
Yeah. You don't see the half marathon at any of those other majors. They're just standalone.
Yeah. And we saw that when we were talking about the budgets around paying for Croaks, Pacemaker and Gold Coast compared to the supporting the half marathon. Different fish to fry. It's interesting. Watch this space. Wonder if the show's still going to be on in 2 or 3 years to see if that's
maybe not after our Com Games chat.
Oh, mate, we'll get cancelled for something for sure.
Your Com Games chat.
Come on,
I said I had a lump in my throat. I was loving what I was saying. Kids at school tomorrow will be all about asking me if I know Jessica Stenson, I reckon.
Hey, I was not against the run. I was all for the run.
Listener question this week, boys, something a bit different. Put the call out on Instagram asking for some questions about what's happened in the last week of running. So I've got all the questions in front of me. I'll fire them at you. Some controversial ones here. Not going to leave names next to them. A few people have asked to be anonymous. You can answer them quickly, and then we can cut any that are too controversial to go to air. How's that sound?
All right.
Yeah, all right. Sounds good.
There's out of the 200 questions I got in front of me, I'd say 130 of them are about Liam Adams' shoes, which we've already addressed. But we'll go quickly. What are your thoughts on Jess not getting to run through the tape at the end? Did you see this? Both men's and women's. They pulled him down just before they got to the finish line. Weird. What were they doing?
Occupational health and safety.
No. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I reckon. Well, there's no sponsors, so that they don't care. So why not drop them, get a better photo as they cross?
Okay.
Yeah, but I guess what's the point of having it there if you can't run through it?
It looked weird. It looks strange. You just want to feel it on your chest. You both probably haven't won as many races as I have, but it's a really nice feeling when you run through it and just feel it touching your chest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I reckon Jess lost that opportunity there. Next one. Thinking about the track at Com Games, who's got the best chance of doing a successful double that's been at the World Championships and now going to the Commonwealth Games this week? We need to bounce back from Ollie Hoare, don't we? That's the first
one. Are we
one.
talking about Australia?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to think who's had success already, right? Because that's a successful double to nail them both. So I'm going to say, Stewie. He's coming good at the right time.
Good one. Pros?
Well, I guess who would you class as having a good result at World Champs?
Jess.
Who have we got to pick?
Georgie Griffith, Stewie.
Yeah, I think Jess will be there or thereabouts for a medal.
Coming back from COVID, that'd be interesting though, won't it?
Stewie and Jess.
Very competitive
But
events for both of them.
Ollie will be out to prove a point.
Just give me a time for this next one, fellas. On a flat course, what could Jess Stenson run, given the shape she's in?
224 something.
Yeah, 224 is my answer.
Okay, and the next one. Why do we need different uniforms at every single championship?
Depends who's sponsoring. Like Commonwealth Games has got their own sponsor versus Athletics Australia having a sponsor that they would use then for World Championships. So you have to use the Commonwealth Games sponsor for Commonwealth Games teams.
What is that brand that's sponsoring
no idea.
The Commonwealth
No
Games?
idea.
I still don't know what brand it is.
Yeah.
They should write the name on it because their logo has not there's not much traction with their logo.
Oh, how baggy Andy went with the Eddie Bet shorts. Like how baggy were his shorts. The first 90 seconds, I reckon he pulled his shorts down 3 times trying to get them to sit on his hips properly.
He does like a low short.
He does wear them low. Yeah. The next one, I'm just going to stick to this. People send just some random questions here, but I'll stick to stuff that was related to the last week. What do you guys think of the commentary?
Not good. No good. And
the second part of that is, why wasn't Steve Montighetti asked to be on the commentary team?
Because he's there in a different capacity. Yeah. He's there with the Commonwealth Games Association.
It is weird that they do not have a marathoner on that panel, though.
Yeah, they don't understand that you can actually have silent time and be totally fine with that, because that was the problem. Always trying to fill it with just babble. And in the end, if you're trying to fill stuff with babble, a bit like this podcast, you end up just talking shit.
That's exactly.
That's what happened.
That's what
it was. Just
Carly asked me. She goes, "Was that bad?" I said it was kind of like us just talking shit, but you expect more professionalism when you actually turn on the TV, not just people talking shit with a marathon going on.
Hey, Bruce McAvaney needs short 1 minute to maybe 10-minute slots where he comes in, he goes bang, firepower, he's done. But to get him stumbling through a marathon, oh no. There was some horrid stuff talked about. And anyway, move on.
Next one. Why is Liam Adams not getting any shoe contract interest? Is it his age, his antics, or not being proactive? Any intel there, boys? Spray painted shoes have been going for a long time now.
I don't know the background about what Liam's been offered. So this could be a case of him having offers at his door that he's just not happy with. So that if he might go, no, what's the point in signing up for this? And this is a problem.
I don't know, Moose. The narrative is no one wants to sponsor me. Isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the narrative. That's the storyline I get.
No one.
When I watch the coverage, not he hasn't told me that directly.
No, like, how about this though? Right, this is. I actually think that it's a good thing that he's not settling for a bullshit little contract. So I don't. He's not going, oh, please send me this product. I'll give you 25% off to my followers for it. Like, he's not doing that because he doesn't see any value in that. And he almost like creating a precedent going, no, like, if you're going to sponsor me, this is what it costs.
This is my value and I respect it.
Exactly. I like that from him. He's not taking little bullshit things like saying, here's 2 pairs of shoes a year and then you'll be in 6 social media posts and you'll have to come to this. Because I don't think that, like, I think athletes undervalue themselves so much and you can see it all the time. I'd rather someone, like, if everyone said no to the bullshit, then you would start to see bigger contracts come in.
Anything there, Croaks?
No, but sometimes I reckon, having, not that he has a chip on his shoulder, but like having the blue collar, the blue collar sort of attitude, like, sort of works for him a little bit. Like, that's how he races. And so if he then did get a big sponsor, like, he wouldn't have that sort of blue collar, what's the word I'm looking for? Reputation, I suppose.
Yeah,
and I reckon it works. I reckon it works well for him. I reckon he can sort of dig a little bit deeper with that blue collar reputation.
Yep, well put. Next one. Can we have some conversation about Jack Rayner? Pulled out of the 5K at World Champs and then the marathon again yesterday.
Well, I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't have any inside lines there. So, is he injured? Did he get cooked in that 10K? Is he trying to prepare best for what he thinks is maybe his best chance at a medal, which it could be in the 10K for him at Com Games? He's doing the 10K at Com Games.
Well, I read somewhere he's just doing the 5.
Well, it was entered all 3 of them.
Like, surely he'd try and do both. Like, because I would have thought, well, where do you think his best medal chance is, the 5 or the 10?
The 10 he's got to come up against Kemboy, Camille and Crop, who have run 12:46, 12:46 and 13:04, the Kenyans. And the Ugandans, he's got to come up against Cheptegei and Kiplimo. Like 12:35. That's in the 5K. And
okay,
then,
yeah.
So, like, maybe yesterday was his best chance in the marathon.
Yeah.
And Mark Scott, 13:05. And he's got to get over Kai Robinson, who had a pretty good 5 at the World Champs. So maybe he's just going for the 10, and I might see who's down for that one.
Yeah, because if he's in, like, similar shape to when he broke the Aussie record, like, you'd have to say that he's in contention for a medal.
2 UK guys, Sam Aiken and Patrick Dever, both ran 27:26 and 27:23. Who's Kenyan got? They got Cheptegei and Kiplimo, Uganda do.
Yeah.
Kenya, they got a whole lot of 27:30 guys as well. But you think yesterday might have been his best chance at a medal if you look at the results we're just talking about.
Yeah, possibly. But you looked at his training the last few months, and there's no way he was training for a marathon.
Yeah. I'll go one more before you boys. Favourite World Championships performance that happened last week? Oh, actually, there's some spicy ones in here. I'll keep going. Moose, what was your favourite World Champs performance?
Oh, gee. I'm gonna the javelin thrower, Kelsey Lee-Barb.
Oh, that's good from you. Ex-teammate. Well, that's why Croaks always throws that in.
Yeah.
Croaks, what was your favourite?
Sydney McLaughlin. Incredible.
That was incredible.
I cannot believe that a female can run 400 metres while jumping barriers that fast. Amazing.
That was pretty good. And the next one. Jeez, I'm reading all these here, fellas. I'll do 2 more for you. Who will our next Olympic marathon team be, both men and women?
Okay. So Olympics is 2024.
Yeah.
So you've got the rest of this year. So whoever's planning, then someone's got to run one the year after, basically. So who's lining up big marathons for next year? I think it'll be Jess Stenson. I think Ali Pashley, of course, she'll come back. and then I think it'll be Sinead again. She can still go and run Londons, and she can still run like fast Japanese marathons. Like it ain't no thing. So I think Sinead gets around for another one. That's in the ladies, and in the gents, Pat Tiernan. He's going to make a team here. He's going to come out. I'm going to throw a bit of a roughie in and say Ed Goddard. I reckon he pulls something out of his ass and gets like a very fast time. Third spot here, Brett Robinson. Oh, no, actually, shit. Okay. Pat Tiernan, Jack Rayner, Brett Robinson.
Ed Goddard's been cut.
Nah, fuck. Ed, you are no chance there, boy.
Bradley, who's your 6?
This is hard. I really don't know. I think Pat will get there. Especially now, like the 10K, the time is just, what is it, 27:10 now?
Yeah.
And so, like I know the marathon's still 2:09:30, but I reckon Pat will step up to marathon. I'll go Jack. Yeah, and like Brett, unless like Ed, I was sort of with you, Moose. Like Ed's on the rise, and if he stays in one piece, like I reckon he will run a quick one at some point. But I guess the times are on the board with Brett. So those three, Jess, I think Lisa. I think she ran quite well on the Gold Coast, and I think she's got another good marathon in her, and. I'll go Eloise as well, because she's quite new to the marathon, and so I think she's only going to get better the more marathons she runs.
Geez, you're sleeping on my boy Andy Buchanan. 2:12 low in his first one. Only got to get better, boys.
It's true. Who are
yours then? Hey? It's easy asking the question.
I just ask the question, boys. Finish off with a rough one for you.
Yeah.
Do we think that the Nick Bordeaux athletes underperformed at the World Championships?
All right, so
there you go, Moose.
No, let's reel them off. We got Jack Rayner. I actually thought his time was comparable to the other athletes in the field's time, like away from his PB. So I don't think he had the best race, obviously, but I don't think it was that bad if you look at how he actually finished up in terms of time. Who then, I guess we got Ben Buckingham. I mean, you're talking about the world champs, and you're talking about guys that aren't like world leaders in their event. So they're coming there, like it's a massive, massive win for these guys to get out of their heat. It's the likelihood is they don't. So to say that someone doesn't get out of their heat isn't performing is just false. It's just not true. So we got Ben.
That rule?
Well, obviously, yes, underperform. You don't to not finish the race is underperform.
I don't know. Is Nat coached by Nick Bordeaux though?
I think so. Oh well, I thought so.
Yeah, I thought so as well.
No, I think she's actually coached by Tim O'Shaughnessy.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll look that up. Yeah, well, I think she trains in that group and stuff, and is probably managed by him. But I think Tim O'Shaughnessy still coaches her.
Georgia Griffiths.
Pass mark. Big pass mark.
No, she made the final.
She did well. She did well.
No, that's more than a pass mark. That's a great championships for her.
Yep.
Ramsden is. I wouldn't say he underperformed because I didn't expect him to make it through either of his heats. But he did make it through a heat, right? He made it to the semi. Is that right? If we think back in the 15, he made it through a heat to the semi and then didn't make it through?
Jeez, you're testing me here, Moose. I'm just asking the questions.
No, I don't think he
did make it through.
I don't think he did make it through to the semi, did he?
I'm looking it up. Keep listening.
No, I don't think he did. I don't think he did.
Well, I wasn't expecting him to, and he didn't. So, I mean, that's not underperforming in my mind. Stewie, I think, performed pretty well given his history. His Charlotte Purdue, DNF, clearly underperformed, but found out she had COVID afterwards. So, kind of, I mean, that's why she underperformed, because she had the virus.
Ramsden didn't make it through.
Okay.
Heat 3, 9th, 3:39.
All right. Well,
Anyone else? I think that's it.
no, were there internationals that in the squad? Charlotte only, I guess.
So that's a no. They haven't underperformed.
I actually don't think they underperformed at that championship.
When you summarise it that way, yeah.
If you look at it individual
It's
case by case.
It's a global, yeah. I think we see them dominating here in Australia, and then when they go over to these global meets, you kind of expect the same thing.
Yeah,
and it's competitive.
Absolutely. This is the top of the world in athletics. This isn't like swimming where there's fucking 6 countries who swim.
Yeah,
this is athletics.
Swimming is a joke.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, after doing that, I'm going to say no, they didn't underperform. But they didn't have a brilliant championship, but they didn't underperform.
Okay, so here's one for you. Do you think Jess, Stenson, Diver, Adams, Wellings should have done the World Championships instead? So did all those 4 have the choice, but Andy had to go Com Games because he didn't have the time?
Liam didn't have the choice. Liam was automatic for Com Games based off his Olympics.
Yeah, he would have had to go chase the time again, wouldn't he? But which he didn't do.
Or got selected on if I'm not sure how many marathoners got selected through the ranking system. Yeah. So like the people that hadn't run the time. So he might have got in that way.
He probably would have really.
I think he would have as well, and I guess Sinead would have been the same. Like she would have got through probably on that ranking system.
She went to London, remember?
Oh yeah.
She got to London.
Yeah, she had the time. Yes. Yeah.
No problem.
Look, I think most of them chose Com Games. From what I believe was they thought Eugene was going to be like really hot, and there was a good chance that it was going to be hot. But when they saw that, like in hindsight, they probably should have gone to world. Like they could have run fast at world champs. The heat wasn't going to be an issue to stop them from running fast. Which, But then I think Jess would have been happy with her decision. Like you're never going to turn down a Commonwealth Games gold medal.
No. All right, boys. That was quick fire listener questions. Thanks to everyone for sending them in. Moose, did you answer that last question?
I think there's 2 answers to that. What's better for them as a business decision is Com Games. What's better for them as an athlete? Probably World Champs.
Okay, good. Thanks everyone for sending them in. Didn't get to most of them, but we've answered some of them throughout the conversation tonight. Moose on the loose, purchase of the week. Finish it off, Moose. Bring it home.
Moose, what was I angry about? I've been angry about a lot of things, but even the field sizes at World Champs. So
you did this last week. You said this last week.
Yeah, no, not really. And even at Com Games, I just think let's increase this field size so that we're like, I don't know why. I've thought about this 2 ways actually. I'm going back on my Moose on the loose because at the start it was like, why have we got 16 people running? This is silly, but 16 people can fit into a TV screen really well, and yes, there's going to be like 75 behind that are running the race as also rans. So I'm starting to think if we just pack it with the very top people, you're going to get a better viewing experience, aren't you?
Have you read much into the Kenyan scratchings?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so...
And why one of their Kenyan athletes wasn't on the start line, the favourite?
So from the 3 ladies in the Kenyans, 2 have sort of had to step aside for doping infringements, correct?
Yeah, I wish I had this stuff in front of me. Definitely one has.
Yep. Yeah, definitely one, but I think 2. And then on the male side, there was one that had to step aside for doping.
Yeah, testosterone.
Yep. The second one was Athletics Kenya entered Eric Sang instead of I think he's a disabled 1500 meter runner or athlete with a disability, instead of Eric Kiplangat, who is the 204 guy who was odds-on favourite to win this race.
Yeah, he was there watching on the side of the road. He couldn't get a start because they entered the wrong name.
So, okay, athletics. So the Commonwealth Games, surely someone's there going, "Oh fuck that! Just let this bloke run.
Yeah.
Put a singlet on him.
100%,
Let him
100%.
run." Why are we worried? This is fucking officialdom killing athletics again.
Yeah.
Oh, we've put the wrong name. Sorry. Here's his details. Yep. Get on the start line. Here's your bib. See you later. Why do we have to do this where someone's fucking come from Kenya to run and some dipshit like official hasn't entered him properly? Well, let the man run.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Someone else isn't able to come in or take his place. You're just losing someone, your main highlight athlete for the entire field. Like, there were no other highlight athletes in that male field. This was your guy, 204 man.
Yeah, as long as you can prove that guy's Kenyan and he's part of your country, put him on. Yeah, you're allowed three athletes.
Yeah.
Bit of a balls up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the doping stuff hurts, doesn't it? When you can't even get a team together because people are getting popped left, right, and centre. Like, it's just a bit fucking embarrassing.
One of the Kenyan ladies who got withdrawn as well, she'd won Sydney before.
Yeah, was it Sydney? I know one of them was Kipchoge's training partner, the gent, wasn't it?
Not a good look when you type in the guy's name and then a whole lot of photos come up with him jogging next to Kipchoge doing workouts. You're just like, ooh, this isn't yeah, well.
Who was that then? Who was the guy who got done for doping there? What was his name?
He was, it's important we get the names correct here. Can you guys remember it off the top of your head before I try and find it?
No.
Just pad for me.
I only know about
this agenda.
I only know bloody 2 Kenyan marathoners.
His name was Philemon Karachi Lakidi.
And what did he run? What was his time going in?
See, this is, you can't just ask me these questions and expect like an instant answer.
Nah, I know they had 3 legit marathoners in this race.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find him now.
Nah, forget it. Let's move on.
They suspended him, for the use of testosterone. He's 30. His PB is 205.19. Valencia last year.
Yeah, so he was rolling.
Yeah. So he would have caused a bit of damage, but maybe he's not clean when he's running those times. Can we get sued for saying that? I'm sure he's not listening, but yeah. Anyway, that's the show. What's coming up in your life, Croaks?
Not much. Hope you're back to work tomorrow. Bit of jogging, and that's it.
Oh, this guy's a part of the NN running team.
Yeah, that's with him. It's Kipchoge's man.
Oh, he's one of the pacemakers at Ineos 159. Yeah. Moose, what are you doing between now and next week?
Albert Park with the Cats.
With the Cats, how's the team looking?
Pretty good, not great.
Yeah, we're the same actually at the Bats. Just holding the fort. 2 out, but none in. Anyway, we'll be right. All right, do it all again next week, fellas. Thanks for listening, ladies and gents. We'll see you later.
See you guys.